Hello everyone, welcome back to our Eurovox channel. I hope you all had a fantastic week and I'm here to react and review Operación Triunfo's fourth gala. The show opened with the 14 contestants singing I Am What I Am by Gloria Gaynor, and as soon as Miki stepped into the stage, my mom, who I was watching it with, was like, this guy's gonna win the contest, because instantly you could feel his charisma, his voice, his stage presence. And I have to say, this, so far, in my opinion, this new edition of contestants are all quite flat. They're correct. Some of them have amazing voices, but connecting with the audience is something they still have to work on really hard. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and let's start the review act by act. The first two people to perform were Damian and Joanne, because they were the nominees from last week and they had to sing their songs to prove the audience that they should vote for one or the other to stay in the academy. So Damian sang Give Me Love and Joanne sang Bed I Made. I have to say I found both of them quite flat. Damian had a really good voice and he actually interacted with the audience, but despite this audience interaction there was something maybe in his face or in his body posture that I couldn't connect with him. He has a really good singing voice and he was performing the music live, he was playing the guitar live, but then at the same time I feel like everyone nowadays is trying to become also Ed Sheeran, but this product is already out and people should try and be more themselves. So Joanne sang Bed I Made, and I also couldn't connect really well. There was like this lack of emotion. I understand he was really enjoying the song, but it didn't transcend out to the other side of the screen. All I can say about his performance is that it was correct. It's not my style of music, but I think he did a good job despite of the whole thing feeling slightly cold. But that's just what I think. Julia and Dave, Spanish names, Spanish pronunciations. They sang Vivir by Rosalén and Estopa. It was a really good song, very correct. That's what I'm saying. The whole tonic of the gala was correct. I think also these new contestants have like a heavy burden to try to replicate the success of last year's gala, where now huge Spanish names are super popular on the radio and TV shows, such as Aitana, Ana War, Ana Guerra, Amaya and Alfred, which we know from Eurovision, and many other names. So I think they feel this pressure to become as big names as them. So Julia and Dave sang Vivir by Rosalén and Estopa, and in my opinion she was better than him. I think he's very witty. I think he should definitely pursue an acting career because he's super expressive and the way he moves, the way he acts. He's a really funny guy, he has a really good sense of humor. But however, I felt that his voice was very correct. It was just, the texture of his voice didn't match hers. And this is what Dave said at the beginning of the week, that Julia, who is a favorite, normally everyone who sings with her ends up nominated, and this is what ended up happening. The next, I'm counting down the acts kind of randomly, but more or less with the idea of who went first. So I think Famous was after them. Famous actually got last week or 2 weeks ago got a César Samson song, and that was really nice to see some Eurovision integrated in Operación Triunfo, not just the final Operación Triunfo goes to Eurovision gala. So that was really nice. Famous sang Take Me to Church by Hozier, and I have to say I really like the lower notes. He's really into the tune with the lower notes, but the higher notes, however, he should either press more his stomach or his diaphragm or relax more, because you could see that as the higher notes were approaching, he was getting nervous. But I don't understand why, because the guy has a really good voice and he's really capable of hitting those notes, those high notes, if he just relaxes a little bit more. what I think was the third pair was Marta and Marilia with Lo echamos a suertes by Ella Baila Sola. Fun note here for Spanish people. Ella Baila Sola is a very popular group from the 90s, which the two members are actually called also Marta and Marilia, so Operación Triunfo did a joke there. So Marta and Marilia sang Lo echamos a suertes, and it was an okay performance. It was correct. Visually, it wasn't so engaging because the two girls were doing two different voices, two different harmonies at the same time during the whole song, and that is very, very difficult to manage. One of the girls, I think it was Marilia, the one doing the higher notes, she was sometimes a little bit off and sometimes over singing the lower part that belonged to Marta. But other than that, I think what they did was actually very difficult. I understand that they had to stay more for most of the parts still, but I really enjoyed the song. Noelia sang La Tormenta by Pastora Soler, our 2012 candidate for Eurovision, which actually tweeted when the show was over that she really liked the performance. And in my opinion, Noelia has one of the strongest voices, which doesn't mean the best voice, but she has one of the strongest voices in the whole show, and she really let the voice out. However, I have to say that some of her notes were missing, were off key, and she got a really good jury criticism. Joe, one of the juries, told her that she was the one that had done by far the best galas, with the best songs and the best performances. So I think maybe Noelia is someone to watch. Next, Miki and Maria, Quédate en Madrid. As I mentioned before, when Miki came out to perform his part of the I Am What I Am opening song, both my mom and I thought that he had something that the rest didn't. He has this stage presence, he has this like smirk, and he's really comfortable on stage, has a good voice. I think, talking Eurovision-wise, he would be a good candidate. And he sang with Maria, Quédate en Madrid. There was a little polemic surrounding, a little debate surrounding this song, because this song was written 30 years ago, and there's a line that says, Los cariñitos siempre me han parecido una mariconez, which basically means cuddles. I've always thought that cuddles were gay. So in this new edition, plus this last year's edition, they're trying to use inclusive language, inclusive performances. So both Maria and Miki, more Maria than Miki, didn't feel comfortable singing this line, and they begged the original songwriters, which are Mecano, to change the lyrics. But they did not agree to that. So there was a whole debate on Twitter about, is it censorship? Is it modernizing a song? What do you guys actually think about? Do you think some songs that were written in the past and now have offensive language should be revised? Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Anyway, the song, for me, it was quite flat. It's a very delicate song. It's a very nice song, but I didn't get this feeling of intimacy that the song was promising. But once you see, let me know what you think, if you agree with me or not. Then Carlos Wright and Sabela sang Estrella Polar by Peraza. Actually, for me, this was the song I most enjoyed. I don't know what was in the mix, but they really seemed like they were having fun, and they were swaying around the stage, and they had this really cool attitude. They weren't singing in the same. There was a key change because I don't know why, but they were probably not comfortable singing on the same key. So at some point that was a kind of a strange arrangement, but hey, for me it paid off. The last performance, the most expected one from the whole night, Alba Reche and Natalia singing Toxic by Britney Spears. There was a huge expectation on this one because, as I mentioned before, Operación Triunfo is trying to make more inclusive performances. So both Alba Reche and Natalia are gay, and during this week's review, there's a moment where the camera catches them saying, we're gonna shock some people with this performance. And there's comments during lunchtime with the other the other cast members of Operación Triunfo saying, we're probably sure people outside the academy are shipping you just because you're both gay. And it's funny because they're not together, but just because they're the same sex, people are trying to ship them. And that was a very interesting discussion they had in the academy. Anyway, performance-wise, I didn't especially like it. I thought it was very messy. Maybe it was the shots and the different angles that didn't make it very whole or like a very rounded performance. Voice-wise, I preferred Alba Reche. I thought her graspy voice was more interesting. Natalia has an awesome voice. I just think the song wasn't the best for her vocals. The dance parts were really good. I'm very impressed. I had not seen them dance before, so they're both really good dancers. However, yeah, I thought for me the whole choreography with the song was all over the place. But I really like the intention. I like the provocative idea to shock people, putting no boundaries to love and attraction. So I liked the idea with which this whole song was built upon. After the 14 performers had performed their songs, it was time for the host to announce who the audience had decided to save. It was Damien, and once this was revealed, it was time for the jury to set the new 2 nominees who the audience would have to vote to save for the following week. These 2 nominees resulted in Dave and Carlos Wright, as I mentioned before. And guys, this was all. I'm not sure if you can watch Operación Triunfo in your countries, but I know in some countries like Serbia, because my wonderful teammate Sanya just wrote an article because she was watching it yesterday. So go to her site and read her article about her review. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree with my opinion or with her opinion. And till next week, till the next gala, see you guys.